than just the fact that it's a rebuild season. Got to go again and see how it takes it. I think Jack was a little bit blown away by it all, because I think the worst thing about that day was the fact that Plymouth had finished before us. So obviously the results came through on our phone, and it was like a good 2 minutes of where we just like we knew we were relegated. It was like a horrible feeling of just like some helplessness, really.
Going on Bluenoses, we are back with a Royal Blue podcast, and today is a special one because joining me today is Tommy from Blues Focus. How you doing, Tommy?
I'm very good, mate. How are you?
I'm alright, thanks, mate, apart from Blues.
Yeah, honestly, I've managed to get used to it by now. It's one of those things, unfortunately.
How's the season been for you, Tommy? I mean, are you glad to see the back end of it, like?
A little bit, yeah. I think towards the end of the season, I think everybody's been a bit like, oh, come on, can this season end now? But like towards the start of it was just absolutely fantastic, in those opening games and everything. But I don't know. It's one of those really that when Rooney came in and it all started to fall to pieces a little bit with the fans and everything, and the divide came back as well. I mean, that was one thing that we'd really gotten on top of, was the fact that last season there was a lot of divide with the owners and everything on the pitch as well. And then we get new owners, we get the stadium looking sharp, and we've got a new kit and new players and everything. And there's just a whole new feel around the club, and everybody's just feeling good, whatever. So, yeah. And then towards the end of the season, it's just been the complete opposite, really. The start and the end of the season couldn't have been any different if they tried. It's been a testing season, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, 7 managers, including the interim managers as well. It's just, I mean, you just come right, could you? It's just Blues all over, isn't it?
I mean, there's Blues, and then there's even ridiculous for Blues' sake. Honestly, like 7 managers, like we're pushing it now. Honestly, it's mental.
I mean, this relegation is quite big for us, really, because I know that we were just talking about our ages, and you're making me feel really old because I know that you're 21. I'm like 11 years older than you, but both of us are in this together because we've never seen it before. Well, I was 2 when it happened, so I mean I can't really remember that far back. But yeah, like, it's never really happened for like both of us to actually like remember and see. So it's a big moment really for like the younger generation of Blues fans, but also a massive moment as well for the older generation that's seen this before. And I feel really sorry for them because they've had years of shit with Blues, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's just mad, isn't it, mate? I mean, I never expected us to get relegated, but I mean, I took it well up until it was on about it earlier, wasn't it? Until we scored the league table.
Oh, it's a bad look, isn't it? I think I think a lot of us remember the 2011 relegation because that was the last one that we had really that really sunk in for us. But yeah, this one I never expected that we'd get relegated in. It's just, again, at the start of the season, apologies, my dogs are barking if you can hear them in the background. But yeah, I think everybody expected it with the way we were sleepwalking into the Carling Cup season relegation because we just didn't have the players for it. But I don't think anybody expected it this season. I think it's still at one point like I think it was the Sheffield Wednesday game that we were properly back in the relegation battle when we lost away. I thought, you know what, we're not having a great run, but we'll find a way out of it at some point. But the way we've just continuously fell into each trap, and like it's just been too little, too late, unfortunately. And it's just one of those things where you don't win your games and you do get relegated because of it. Rotherham and Huddersfield are such easier games than winning against Coventry. You know, it's just like typical Blues at the best of times, really. So I don't know. It's an awful feeling, relegation. And I did a little video to try and get something behind anything. I don't even know what I was trying to. My message of the video
No,
was
I
really,
watched it,
but
mate. It was brilliant. I mean, I always watch your stuff. You're one of the first I watch. I mean, I'm subscribed to all the Blues channels. You know, it's good to support like every
yeah, yeah,
channel and stuff. But yeah, mate, it was a good video, man. You do a really good job, mate. And
yeah.
I just want to personally thank you as well for all the effort that you put into Blues Focus and all the other lads as well, and also um, going up and down the country to watch you, mate, and especially where you live as well. So fair play to you, Tommy.
Thank you, man.
From
Yeah.
me, like it means a lot, like you know, to watch you and support you, mate. You do a brilliant
Mm.
job.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's not easy at the best of times, to say the least. It's particularly when we're traveling to night games at like, well, Bournemouth we travelled to one season, and that was a Tuesday night game, and that was taking the royal piss. That was, to be fair. Oh,
I'll be
God.
there with you, mate. But unfortunately, like I work shifts, so I
Mm.
can only go to certain games. Like I think my shifts sort of move by one day every week. I do 4 on 4 off.
Oh,
Every
yeah.
day. The rotate, so like there'll be like a bank of like 6 to 7 weeks where like my shifts are on a weekend and I can't go. So I might be doing a day or a night, or
Mm.
then
Yeah,
once
yeah,
I get that out the way, then I've got like another 6, 7 weeks where I can go to the game. So it just
yeah,
depends
yeah,
where I'm doing my work and stuff. But yeah, mate, I'll be there with you otherwise.
yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, mate, just what a season. I mean, there's been like a lot of mixed opinions and raw emotions on social media. I've kind of like kept my distance from it like a little bit. I mean, I don't know like how you feel about um, people's views and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of speculations about Rooney still. I mean, I disagree with it really because he went in December, and I think yeah, I think the players had more than enough time to turn it round.
Yeah.
7 managers have had a good crack at this squad, and for me, that just wasn't good enough. But when I was talking to my wife on the way home after the Norwich game, she kind of put like a good analogy on it, and she was saying that like, well, see, it's like when the kids go to school and the teachers are off sick, and then they have like what do you call them? Forgot my name now.
You have like
The standing teachers.
standard teachers. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like the same as like when the kids are learning at school. You know, they're not going to perform as well if they haven't got the proper teacher there. Well, I mean, I could kind of understand it, like in a way, but still, you know, it's the players who are kicking the ball on the pitch, and
Yeah.
they're the ones that have to get the results when they cross the line. What are your thoughts on that, Tommy?
I definitely think it's played a massive role in the players' performances. I think at the start of the season with Eustace, they had something that he'd brought together in the season before. He kept that camaraderie really with all the players and everything. I think that was suddenly lost with Rooney, and Rooney's managerial style, from what I've heard. And particularly, Jamie Carragher was talking to Ashley Young about it last night as well, because he was talking about Louis van Gaal and the difference between him and David Moyes and Alex Ferguson and Mourinho and everybody. And he said like his coaching style was just so different. But Wayne Rooney really liked him for that way.
Yeah,
So he was very sort of stern and hardworking. I think Rooney's tried to emulate that sort of way
yeah,
of football as well. So the difference between John Eustace, where he's, arm around the shoulders, and there's a lot of players like that. I'm sure there is, because the confidence in certain players, it just dips when they've had a bad game. Like Siriki Dembele is the perfect example of that. Like I was really excited when he
yeah,
came
yeah,
in at the start of the season.
yeah,
Fast, skillful. It was
yeah,
absolutely impossible to mark out of the game in those opening games, like against Bristol City and Leeds, and Swansea scored the goal there as well. So it was just like unstoppable throughout the start of the season. And under Eustace, he was keeping him on the left,
yeah.
playing him in his
Huddersfield was a
best
good game as
position.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
To beat
he
them
was,
4-1. I went to that game.
yeah,
Good
he was
game that was.
unbelievable, wasn't he? Just like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot of those players were as well, though. So like they were, just that you can't stop them when they're in their good feel form, really. And
yeah,
Eustace really got onto that. But then you sack him for Rooney, which was an incredibly bold decision by the owners, and is obviously proven to be one of the big issues that has sent us down this season. Just for the idea of like big commercial sales and trying to get a big name manager in to bring even more attraction towards the Blues. And the styles and the way that he was, and I don't think many of the fans took to him either. I know there was some fans, but I think the large majority were not really for him. I think they would have preferred somebody else to Rooney if they were thinking of getting rid of Eustace for a bigger name.
Yeah,
But it's just, yeah, I think it's just the way that he went about it with the players because he was not happy with the way they performed in the first two games, and I don't think that was the right way of going about it, and that was really the big issue of all the season. So I think the players' confidence dropped because of it, and also the other managers they tried to get in. Obviously, Mowbray's come in. I think he's done a really good job with them, but then he gets ill himself. Then Rowett comes in, and it's just all over the place. Then you've gotten a horrible, however many games it was with Rooney, and really feeling like you're not valued by the manager or the club or anything where you were with Eustace, and then you go into Mowbray and you think, okay, but this might be better, and then he falls ill, and then you get Rowett, and then you're in a relegation battle. It's just too many bits on top of it,
yeah, yeah.
and I feel like and it's never somebody's fault directly. There's a lot of
No,
people
no, no.
blaming Gary Cook. There's a lot of people blaming Rooney, the players. Yeah, it's an accumulation of things, so it's never black and white. It's always a couple of things here. Like there was many of opportunities to get the winner in certain games. Like Rotherham, for example, we had loads of chances. We did have one in the back of the net, but it was offside. I mean, I wasn't happy about it at the time, but upon
Yeah, yeah,
review, it definitely is offside. But it's just loads of different things is why we've gone down. It's never one reason. It's very
yeah,
rarely one reason. So yeah, I think it's one to learn from, but also one we should never have allowed because it is incredibly embarrassing for a club like us to have gone down after everything we've been through in the last few years.
yeah, yeah. Well, it ain't so much that. I mean, I've got nothing against Gary Cook or Tom Wagner. They've both got my full support. Um, Granted, they made a mistake getting Rooney in, but even though it was a mistake, I still did get on board with it, because obviously I love Blues. I'm gonna support
Mm,
them if they're gonna try and think of something that's gonna try and better Blues. Whether I agree with it or not, I'm still gonna give them my support. But but yeah, I mean, it was just I think what did it for me was that um, press conference getting Rooney in, and this now fear football, I can bigging it up
mm,
and all this, like pretty much the whole nation's tuned into it, like from all different football clubs. You got fans everywhere watching it now. Look, and it was massive, So like on that
mm.
respect, it was good, but it was just the way that we've done it, and then we've ended up going down there,
Yeah,
and I just feel like a bit embarrassed on that respect. Do you know what I mean?
no, I really do. I feel like I feel it the most as well because obviously, like Mowgli Mug on Twitter and everything is going around a little bit at the moment. So, when people are saying these things, and I've had a few DMs from certain people as well. I had a few friends as well who were having a laugh at me as well.
Mm.
It's painful, because it, we were sixth, like you say. We were absolutely cruising, really. Just beating West Brom and Huddersfield, easily cruised past them, and we just sack him for Rooney, and he doesn't win a game until that Sheffield Wednesday game at home. And how long into the campaign was that for him? Like 7 or 8 games or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
7 or 8 games. Yeah,
Oh,
might have been
honestly.
9.
Yeah, it's just not good enough, and I suppose where most of the blame will fall is on Rooney because it's just the most obvious, the team was doing so well before and then comes in and takes them into another relegation battle. I think that's where most of the blame lies really. So yeah, it's really embarrassing, it is because Villa are laughing at us and everyone else. Derby fans are having a field day with it, obviously, because they've gotten
Oh no,
promoted.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
absolutely loving it from the game that we
I've had a
played at
few
theirs.
comments off. I've had a few comments off both of them. I saw on Twitter as well that when Blues fans were singing about Derby or something,
Mm.
Derby dying, and then they've like retweeted it back and about Blues going down and karma and all this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I had a comment off a Derby fan on one of my videos. A bit like a massive long essay, and
Yeah.
it makes me laugh because I think that we'll take all this to heart, and I just laugh. I do when I get all these comments coming. And this Derby fan wrote this massive long essay, and I was reading it, and then like he was saying it's calm, all the Blues fans singing. I just replied saying, "Well, I wasn't there."
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh dear.
I was there for that Derby game though, so maybe I can
Yeah.
hold a little bit of accountability for it. No, it was a great day though, that derby game. You can't take anything away from Blues fans, and I think that's perhaps something that has gone from the fan base a little bit. Is the fact that maybe that we're taking all this sort of relegation stuff. I don't know how to
To
word this now,
heart.
but mate, I don't know how to word it though, because it's like, people have always like loved hating us. I think we should carry on doing that. Like we should be a little bit Millwall. Definitely not on every way, but it's just like horrible to play against. Don't really want to go there. It's one of those.
Yeah.
We got to make it more of a fortress, and we haven't done that this season. We've been too easy to play against. Yes, we've been okay at home, but like away, we've just been absolutely
Oh, it's
appalling,
been
really.
terrible.
So
Well, I mean, I had a look at the stats the other day on one of my videos, and like I think Blues are like 23rd on their away form, like in the league table playing away.
yeah, I've
I mean, that's shocking, really.
only won 3 away games, and every single one of
3
those
out of
away days.
24.
Yeah, every single one of those away days, we won in a different kit. So we won the Bristol City one in the home kit, we won the Stoke one in the black kit, and then it was the Cardiff one in the red kit. So
Yeah.
talk about consistency.
It's mad, isn't it, mate?
It's mental, really, really bad. But it's been
Would
like that
you?
for years, though.
Yeah, I know. Would you have kept John Eustace a lot longer? I mean, I would have kept him till at least January. But I mean, I know that when owners do come in, they do tend to bring in their own people. But
Mm.
my like thought process on it is, don't fix something that's not broken. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't perfect like under Eustace at all, but
no.
I definitely think it would have been in safe hands because of that bond he had with the players. I mean, I thought he had a really good bond with the players, and I mean, looking back and stuff, it was as if the players wanted to play for him a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have kept him till at least January. But
Mm.
what are your thoughts on that, Tommy? Would you have kept
I,
him
I
a bit longer, or
I definitely would have kept him until January. I think that's the best way of doing it, really.
yeah,
Because I don't know, I have a real big thing about big name managers and big name signings and all that, and spending money in general, really. Like the one thing I quite liked about the start of the season is the fact we're getting decent players for quite a cheap amount, really. So we got Ethan Laird, who I initially thought we got on a loan, and we only got him for 700k. And considering like how much of a player, and considering he's off United as well, and the fact that he's played in the Championship before as well, I thought that was an absolute bargain. That was, and Lee Buchanan as well, been really good player elsewhere. So we made some great signings, and players who weren't particularly like the best known or anything. And, they have been good players this season. They've just been in a relegation battle towards the end of it. And again, you can't blame it all solely on them because it's not entirely all their fault, but there are certain things about this. So getting rid of Eustace, who hadn't put a foot wrong really, for a big name in Rooney, who hasn't entirely done anything right in his managerial career, it's kind of like, well, like there's some thought behind it because obviously you want to get him in for like another revenue thing. You want to generate more interest in the club, and if it works, it's an absolute stroke of genius because who wouldn't want to play for Wayne Rooney in a
yeah,
successful
yeah,
Birmingham City side? But I mean, the chances of that happening were just always going to be very risky, and at the time, like I was, of course, I was like you, I was wanting it to work and everything. But there's just another bit inside of me that was just going, there's just such a high likelihood of this not working because of who he
yeah.
is and the fact that everybody that comes up against us is going to work their absolute socks off to try and beat us. And they
Make it
did
not
it.
work, yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, they didn't even have to try, because it was so badly set up. I mean, that Leeds game, I think he had can't exactly remember the team now, but I think he had Longelo at left back, who hadn't started a game since Norwich or something like that. And I swear he had, I swear he was playing Dembele through in the middle or something like that, considering he's like one of the best wingers we got. So the whole thing was just like, you just kind of had a gut feeling it was never going to work. So with like Eustace, it was just, there was nothing wrong. So just stick with it and take him till as far as he thinks like he can go. But to replace him, it was always just replacing him with Rooney. If it was replacing him with like Graham Potter or something, like somebody genuinely big like that,
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
fair enough, you know. And if it didn't work, then you could be like, oh well, that's ridiculous, you know. Like fair enough, they've gone for a big name manager and somebody who's proven it with Brighton and the
yeah. With the
uh
experience.
yeah, you know, he's been to other clubs as well. Like I can't remember what that Norwegian team he managed, Osasunas or Osasunds or something like that. I can't remember now. But they were like, you know, those type of managers, you'd be like, okay, it's not worked out, but you can't blame them for the managerial choice. You can just blame the manager for that, you know. But
Yeah,
like with Rooney, like he's not done anything before. Yeah, yeah, he kept Derby up in a you know a relegated team that I think Wednesday had points deductions or something like that, and then went down with the points deduction. Yeah, he played some all right football from here and there, but like the name's the big thing, but he's not a big name manager. He's a big name player. You know, it's one of those things. You know, you can't like I don't know, can't really compare it with anything else. It's like if Cristiano Ronaldo suddenly became a manager and be like, oh yeah, we're going to get him for the manager next season. It's like, based off what? Yeah, he might be a great footballer, but like, it doesn't mean he's a great manager. So I think they just went down that route too much. And with Rooney, he just wasn't, unfortunately. Yes, he might have had things that didn't go his way. Yes, he might not have had a transfer window and everything. But if you can't pull a results out of a team that's just finished with just sixth after you've been put in, then you ain't a good enough manager, in my opinion. And
no,
John Eustace clearly was for us, you know, and he got something right with the players. Yeah, it might have been a bit overdone at times with all the sort of sticking together and the badge tapping and everything. But, you know, I think people were warming to it, you know, and when you get results as manager, that's all that matters, you know. And, you know, he's kept Blackburn up after a bit of a shaky period. And I'll be interested to see if they keep hold of him and everything. And I'm definitely not saying that he's the best manager in the world, but
no, he's not.
he definitely does something for players, that's for sure, because he
Yeah,
kept the morale in that team for a very long time, you know, and a team that could have easily been relegated last season, the season before, and then you know is pushing towards the top of the table with us, you know. So it's I don't really know what was wrong really with the things on the pitch. I understand the business side of it, but on the pitch, it baffles every Blues fan, doesn't it?
yeah. I mean, you read stuff online and stuff. You know, you see things. Everyone's got different opinions and speculations of why Eustace had gone. I was reading something that like they wanted Eustace to play this attacking football, and he turned around and said, "You can't do this with these players." And then that was why. Well, that was part of the reason why that they got rid of
Mm.
him. Um, how true that is or not, I do not know. But it was just stuff that I was reading on social media. Um, but if that were true, I think um, that Eustace was right. You know, I don't think that these players. I mean, when we were trying to play from the back, they just couldn't do it, could they?
No.
I mean, it was like times. I mean, not keeping Ruddy as well. You know, when they're playing from the back, and it's like, but the attackers come. It's like fucking hell. I'm gonna fucking mess up and
Mm.
score off this. You know what I mean? Like your heart's in your neck. Like
Yeah.
we just can't do it, can we?
No, and we've tried it before with other managers as well, but the fans aren't interested in watching that style of football. I mean, I said it when Rooney got sacked in a video I did. It's like players aren't interested in playing that style of football. Neither are the fans. You know, we'd much
Mm,
rather see Sunjic getting stuck in and Djukovic elbowing five players out of the way for a goal
yeah,
than seeing us play the ball around the back and watch Manny Longello put in Liam Delap to go in and score for Hull. You know, it's just like fans aren't interested in that, you know. And I think we've I don't know how to phrase this right either, but I feel like we've been a little bit forgotten about in terms of the football this season, because I know that Ethan Laird has been doing like a lot of the trying to come on sort of things and
yeah,
everything,
yeah, yeah,
but it's like okay, but in Ethan Laird's case, I do understand it because for him as a player on that pitch, he probably does need a little bit because he is working his heart out, you know, and everybody else is on the pitch all the time. I never deny that. But also as well, you got to remember us as fans, we've had such a torrent last 13 years and now we've been relegated. So it's just adding to everything, you know. We've had Rooney, we've had Zola, we've had Redknapp, we've had Monk, Clotet, Cottrell, all these type of managers who are playing different styles of football, some that have worked, some that haven't. And you know, to try and get more, you know, excited about things or trying to give some atmosphere when we're 1-0 down to Watford at home on a Tuesday night. It's just like, you know, I can't really pull myself to do that because the football on the
yeah,
pitch
yeah,
ain't good enough to get me
yeah,
excited, you
yeah,
know. And a lot
yeah,
of Blues fans are like that. Like, even if we're not playing like particularly great, if you're getting absolutely stuck in and showing that you're getting stuck in, then we'll
Yeah,
give it some. Like that's how we are, and playing that type of football. And like Ruddy, for example, when he's trying to play the ball out at the back there, I could see he was nervous. I could see he wanted to put it further forward. It doesn't even have to be like the biggest hoof up the pitch, not up to Djukovic
yeah,
for him to barge his way out of players, but like it's just like a more of an over the top ball pass. It's just like I don't know why we elected to go for that style of football because I mean we won 2 games of it all season
yeah,
really. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not it's not worked ever really for Blues. And I
no,
think one thing that League One might show us a little bit is our true style for the fans, as well. Because like if we play that same football that we did with other managers that have been more successful with us in the past, like Rowett, like Monk, maybe even McLeish as well, if you can bring him into that conversation, you know, we'll cruise the league, because the fans will enjoy us. And like Tom Wagner said this season, in every sellout we've won, and there's no denying it, because we have a massive impact on the players and everything. But that impact can only be truthful because the Blues are as real as it gets.
yeah,
You can't put football in front of them that we don't like and pretend that we like, because we pay our monies for what we want to see, and what we like to see is those type of things, when players are getting stuck in and giving it their all and burning on the counter attack and everything. And when John Eustace is saying that we can't play that style of football, he knows his players well, and the board might have ideas of things, but like I would always say that a manager should have the full control of that football team, and he shouldn't have technical directors picking the team. The manager has his managerial role to manage that team. It shouldn't
yeah,
be
full
down
that
to
role.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
if you don't want John Eustace to be that role, fair enough. You can go and get Wayne Rooney, and he can be that manager. But ain't gonna work, is it? Like you
no,
get Tony Mowbray in to choose those teams. You've got to give him. You got to allow him to pick
got to
those
get
teams.
behind him.
Exactly. Like it's false trust then also because like
Yeah,
it's like you're giving him the job, or like even if I was Tony Mowbray in this situation, I'd be like, well, I'm in this situation to pick the teams, and I work with them every single day. And you want this style of football? I'll tell you if we can play it or not. It's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not down to the board or anybody else. It's Tony Mowbray in the manager's role. Not even people who work with him, like the technical directors, like Gardner or anybody. Like it is Tony Mowbray's job to pick the team, and it is nobody else's. And that's where
yeah,
they
yeah,
need to get this right next season. Is the fact that we've got a team that is going to be. We're gonna have to try and work out what's our best team again because we're gonna have an incredibly different team next season. So we need to work out what works for the players, what works for the fans, and what works for the club. And there's got to be some compromise somewhere. And the
yeah,
main priority, though, comes down to the players because if they're not happy with playing the way that they want to play, it's got to change. It's
yeah,
as simple as
definitely.
that. The players come first in the team because they're the ones playing the game.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like that point that you made about like the Blues fans and stuff. For me, that Coventry game was by far, I think, the best game that Blues have played, and we beaten 3-0 at home. And as well, going back to the Blues fans, this is what Blues fans expect, and this is what it means to us. Not only did we win that game, but the players were getting stuck in it. And what I noticed was around the stadium, if the players lost the ball or like Coventry had the ball, and Blues won the ball, pretty much the whole stadium was like cheering, like yeah, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
stuck in. It's all we ask.
Mm.
I can lose all day long, Tommy, but if there's fight there and playing for the
Yeah,
badge, mate, that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? And that
absolutely. Yeah.
Coventry game, it was both. It was there was fight and they wanted to win as well. Like, well, obviously we did win, but like that game was by far the best game of the season for me.
100%. Yeah.
Not only for the football, but for the Blues fans as well.
Mm.
Because I'm not being biased here, Tommy. Um, to me, there's nothing like Blues fans.
Oh, yeah.
We're
We're
something
we're a
else, aren't we?
unique breed. Yeah, we're a fantastic bunch. We're absolutely amazing fans, really.
Yeah. It's really. I mean, looking back at this relegation as well. I mean, I was dreading like how I'd take it, to be honest, just because I've never seen it before. Well, can't remember it now, and I was more like scared of how like my emotions would be.
Mm.
And to be honest, I've been quite positive doing videos like last season, even though like things weren't going our way. But I'm feeling really positive about this relegation because I think we can start again, rebuild. Tom Wagner as well on the open house. He did say that we was going to invest a lot, roughly the same as what we do in the Championship, or if we got down to League One. What are your thoughts on that, Tommy? With Tom Lodge spending the same amount in the transfer window, are you excited for it and stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic about it. I think we're going to get some really good players in. I would like to see that money spent smartly rather than big, if that makes
Yeah,
sense, on
yeah,
players that are going to, be League One standard. And well, actually, that exceed League One standard, really. I think that would be the better way of putting it, because you want to go straight back up. So you don't want League One standard as if like we're going to be finishing 10th or something. We want finishing top of the league, blitzing it away, really, coming straight back into the Championship. I think that's the right way to go about it as well. I'm not entirely sure about what the FFP rules are in League One. I think they are slightly different to what they are in the Championship, which is
yeah,
why clubs get stuck there for such a long time.
yeah,
I think, yeah, we do need to, like I was sort of saying a little bit before, we need to sort of emphasize the players a little bit more and get what works for them and the people that will work well with them as well. So, there's a lot of players still on contracts, like Ethan Laird and Buchanan, I think, is on loan, or I don't know, we might have signed it. I can't remember now. But really, I think that's the right way of going about it. Like, fair enough, we've been relegated, we've been a bit embarrassed by it all as well. But like, the best way of dealing with it is coming straight back up. Then no one else can say anything. Then it's like, yeah, we've been relegated, everybody's having their laughs and everything. But like, come straight back up, then there's nothing else to worry about. But what was the rest of the question? I can't remember now.
Oh, it was just about Tom Wagner spending the same amount of money, but you already answered that, mate.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know, actually. I think it's difficult to always suggest what's right for the new season, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think yeah, they've just got to come back up straight away. Really, there's nothing else that they can do really that would um, benefit the fans and everything, because you get stuck down there for another season. It doesn't matter how many great things you're doing with the business of the club. It's just not good enough. You need to come back straight away. And I mean, no one wants to be relegated. And yeah, there's some positives, but there's positives in everything in life. But League One, there'll be like weeks and months where we have really bad games and everything. And we might have like a really bad defeat to somebody away or something like that. And then I think the worst thing I remember when we got relegated in 2011 was the fact that, obviously, I didn't take it as well because I was a bit younger.
yeah,
But the idea of that, when we played, I think it was Coventry on the first day of the season, and that was good because we won. Keith A at the last minute. But then I just remember in that week then, when we had the Coventry game on the Saturday and then the next game, just like the horrible feeling of like everybody else looking elsewhere. And that'll probably hit home a little bit more when we look at the playoffs in the next few weeks. So like, I
yeah,
don't know who's like Leeds are playing Norwich and Southampton are playing the Baggies. So whoever makes the final of that, and seeing them all celebrating on the pitch and they're back in the Premier League, and it's like that will hurt. That will. And there's other ones as well, like seeing who will play in League One next season. I have Doncaster and Crewe and Crawley and who else? Who are Crawley playing? I've forgotten now. Can't remember. But whoever we play next season out of that, and it's just gonna suck, honestly. And it's all those things really. When you see like who have we got next week? Oh, we've got Stockport, and then we've got Wrexham, and then we've got Exeter. It's just, oh god, honestly, it's not fun knowing that you're in League One in the week. It's like whilst you're at work
yeah,
and
yeah,
whilst you're
yeah,
at school and everything, you're looking forward to the next game. Like it's bad enough when you've got like Blackburn or somebody to play like that. But
yeah,
if
yeah,
when you're in the Premier League, like I remember in like school days and everything, like I remember thinking, I remember we had we had Man United on the weekend. I was like, oh my god, that's just gonna be absolutely fantastic. That is, I can't wait for that. Like
yeah,
Chelsea and Liverpool and Everton and even other teams that weren't even that good. Like Fulham at the time. It's like playing them
yeah,
was like, oh, gonna be a great day. But I mean, it will be a great day as well in League One. There'll be some great moments and some really funny moments as well, like playing teams like Stockport, who are a decent run club. Like they're decent
yeah.
actually. I've been to
Lincoln
them a few
City.
times. Lincoln as well. There's going to be some fun away days and some good home
Oh
games as
man,
well. but also as well, like there's going to be a hint of
Wycombe
like,
Wanderers,
oh, we've played them before recently as well. So like,
Stevenage.
oh,
Oh
honestly,
no. I mean,
that's
there is two good ways of looking at it, mate.
yeah.
There's
I
two
think
things that there's two things I'm really looking forward to. Number one, it's got to be Blues winning more games, being in League One. That's going to happen definitely, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Ryan Reynolds as well at Wrexham.
yeah, that will be interesting actually. I'm wondering how many we'll take for next season because there will be games where, particularly if we're playing some teams that are down the bottom of the league, and we're playing them. I wonder how many we'll take because, like, you hear stories of us back in the 90s when we were just like, like taking fans in the omen and everything. And me and my mum and my dad used to do that as well when they went to those games in the 90s. We're just like, I can't remember what game they went to. I think it might have been even Tranmere or something like that. And like they didn't have any home fans, so they all just went in the omens. So it was just like the Blues. It's like watching a Celtic in the SPL. It's just like that. There's literally no other teams supporting Motherwell and Aberdeen or anything. Well, maybe Aberdeen a little bit more, but like other teams in that division that just take them all in the home end. It's like a home game every single game for them. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely sure there'll be some days like that, but I don't know. Maybe other teams might bring a few, but it's going to be like a bit of a cup final for some other teams, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, at least we'll go to Wembley as well. Do you think the Blues will bounce back straight
I
away?
I really hope so because I think we'll get stuck if we don't.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, like, it's always tricky to work out if these owners are going to be good owners, and I really don't like saying that because obviously with all the things they've done so far and the enthusiasm they've brought to it, but there is always a possibility that they won't be the owners that we want them to be, and
yeah.
whatever that reason is, it's always a possibility. But I'm sure we
Can you
will come
see that
back.
though?
I'm sure we will come back because we're a big club and we've got massive investments compared to everybody else in that league. But
Yeah,
there's always that hint of doubt in your brain that's always saying, well, we might be always. I'm definitely sure we'll be up there for promotion. I don't think we'll have an absolute horrid season and finish like mid-table or something like that. I
no,
don't think that will happen at all. There's just that horrible feeling in my head of like the third last game of the season and we're struggling away for results and we'll lose and then we're guaranteed in the playoffs and it's like, oh god, it'd be like real
typical Blues.
typical Blues to do that. Yeah, it's honestly, if you
Oh,
didn't think it could get more typical, just wait until we're in the League One playoffs playing Stockport or Stevenage, or Wrexham or
yeah,
something like that. It's just, oh, for goodness sake. Or Rotherham as well, and they'll
yeah.
knock us out of the bloody semi-finals. Honestly, I could see something like that happening, but I just want to
Yeah,
do it the easy way. If we are going to go back up, just win the league or even just promotion, not through the
yeah,
playoffs or anything, just
yeah,
go back up. Like it's going to be an
yeah.
absolute nightmare if we can't, because I don't know where we can bounce back from if we can't come back straight up. It's like we might do it in like 2 or 3 seasons, but like just it's like we're just wasting away another generation. We've wasted away this generation with the Championship and not being anywhere near the Premier League, and
Yeah,
now we're going to waste another generation in League One. You can't let that happen. It's just going to be disastrous for the club. People will lose interest. They just
yeah,
will, and other, the media will lose interest in us. The players will be disinterested in us, and so will some of the fans as well. When you get young fans as well, they might have a great day out at St Andrews and everything for like one or two games, but if it's not exciting enough, or you don't even have to win the games half the time, but if it's not exciting enough or you're not competitive enough, people go elsewhere, and particularly young, impressionable people as well, that they probably will go somewhere else. So gotta get back into the Championship. That's the absolute number one aim this season. And if we don't, then it's not good enough, unfortunately.
What's the general vibe like with the Blues focus lads and like your dad and your brother? I mean, what are their thoughts on it, Tommy? They've got
Um,
Blues getting relegated. Like, have they took it well or
I think, yeah, we've all
quite
took it
hard?
well because we've been quite used to the dross in recent seasons. Um,
I mean, I know
it's
your
always,
dad's been there before. It looks a similar
yeah.
age to my dad, So I mean, he's seen it before. So I mean, how's he like kind of took it?
I think he's been used to it. Yeah, I think he's quite a stoic person anyway. He takes things quite well. Doesn't really let things affect him in that way. because obviously we're just fans, you know, we can't do anything on the pitch. So I think he was quite level-headed about it all. I don't think he was thinking about I don't think he was thinking anything much else about it other than just the fact that it's a rebuild, so rebuild season. Got to go again and see how it takes it. I think Jack was a little bit blown away by it all, because I think the worst thing about that day was the fact that Plymouth had finished before us. So obviously the results came through on our phone, and it was like a good 2 minutes of where we just like we knew we were relegated. It was like a horrible feeling of just like some helplessness, really. So we was really waiting for the whistle to go. We're a goal up. There's literally nothing else we can do. And just sitting there and sort of thinking, oh yeah, we are relegated. Like there's nothing else we can do. Like literally, it's all over. Like even though we're still playing, it's over. We're done. So yeah, that was a weird feeling as well. So it didn't sink in until a couple of minutes afterwards when everybody's storming the pitch and everything, and then we're walking out. And Jack's gone back up and had a look around at the stadium for a last time of the season. So that was, yeah, I think it takes time on some people to sink in, and when it does, it's then depends on what type of character you are to sort of absorb it and everything. Because I think if you're bitter about it, then you start getting angry. But if you're accepting of the fact that we haven't been good enough, you know, it's not like we've been in the Premier League in the season before and then gone straight back down like Sunderland did. Like that would really hurt. That would, because it would feel like you had all this and then it's just disappeared. And there is a hint of that with the Blues this season, but it's sort of based off nothing really. The foundation hasn't been built just yet for that to really sink in. We're still very new in terms of the new ownership. So yeah, it was. I think it was once it settled in for pretty much every Blues fan. I don't think there's many others. It's just one of those that you feel like it's going to sting for a couple of days. It'll really sting if the Villa turn it round against Olympiacos and win the whole bloody Conference League. That will really hurt because they're guaranteed top four now, if they're not mathematically all guaranteed it. So they're going to be in the Champions League next season while we're in League One. But then if they have a European Cup at the same time, it's like, oh, it's just like, give us a break, honestly. Like we're bad enough as it is, you know. We can't have everybody else doing so well. Like if the Baggies get promoted, Wolves are obviously still in the Premier League, Villa get top four and win a Conference League. It's just, oh, it just feels like the whole world's against us. So whilst what we can do, like I don't think the fans are really that bothered, really, because like with Blues we're used to it. But when everybody else is doing well, it's just like that stuff gets to me. Unfortunately, I'm quite chill about the Blues. Like I'm kind of used to us being crap, really. So I'm quite used to that. But I will never get used to the Villa being good. That hurts. That does, and I hate it when that happens. So that's not one I take very kindly. If they win this Conference League after how bad they were in that first leg, I am going to be a very angry person because
don't worry about it, mate. Fuck
I'm going to be very angry.
But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Tommy.
Thank you, man.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing next season. I mean, have you got any plans with Blues Focus in terms of the break now? Like, have you got like any podcasts or that coming up that we can look forward to?
Yeah, I'm hoping on. Stuff? Yeah, hoping on doing a few podcasts. We need to do an end of season podcast, which we'll probably do in the next week or so. We're going to the Austria pre-season tour. That should be quite fun. It's never been to Austria before. I don't know exactly who we're playing there or when, so I'm hoping the club will talk about that in the next few weeks because I have got the time booked off, but I do want to book around that time. I don't want to go for the whole week. It's going to be quite expensive. I've got a couple of ideas for some videos. We're hopefully going to be working with a few other YouTube channels and a few other companies to do a couple of things around the summer, around the break and everything. So yeah, I mean, there's absolutely stacks of stuff we can do. There's loads of stuff that we haven't even thought of yet that we're just going to do. And, you know, we're quite a spontaneous channel like that. If we think of an idea, we'll just do it, you know, and if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, you know. And I think that's the beauty of being a YouTuber, really, is the fact that we're not tied down to having a certain opinion or anything. And, you know, we've got freedom to try anything out, and if people like it, then fantastic, you know. So we're still going to be doing as much as we can, still going to be vlogging for next season's podcast is going to come back much stronger. It has been a bit on and off this past season, but it's just down to people's availability, unfortunately, that is, and some of mine as well. So yeah, it's onwards and upwards for the channel. Just hoping that the Blues can follow in the same pathway, really. So
Well,
yeah,
I'm definitely I'm definitely up for doing some collabs and stuff with you and stuff.
yeah, man, yeah.
If you're up for it, like, you know.
We'll have to do a Blues YouTubers crossbar challenge or something like that. That'd be quite funny. Do it at the local park around St Andrews or something like that.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, but I mean, like in terms of the podcast as well, you know, I'm
Yeah,
more
man,
than,
yeah.
More than happy. Like if a Blues focus wanted to get me on a podcast or something, I'd definitely be down.
Yeah,
to,
definitely, man. Yeah.
Talking to you lads and meeting you. But I mean, I definitely want to see you all next season and just buy you all a drink, like.
Yeah, of course, yeah. What the fuck was
At the top.
Something just vibrated underneath me. It was ridiculous. I haven't even gotten anything that does that. Anyway.
But yeah.
I don't know whether you could hear that.
I heard something.
Anyway.
I thought you were something.
That was bizarre, that was. So, unless my dad's drilling something into the ceiling downstairs, I don't know. That's bizarre, that is.
I'm more than happy.
Beauty of YouTube, you don't have to cut this out.
No, that's it, mate. No, leave it. It makes people laugh, you know what I mean? That's,
yeah.
No, yeah, mate, I definitely want to meet you all at some point next season and just have a good talk to you all and just have a drink with you and stuff, really, and
100%, man, yeah.
Very good to see you all, man.
Yeah, man, yeah.
But yeah, Tom, mate, thank you very much, mate, for doing the podcast with me. Keep up the great work as well, and I'll be watching you again, as always, mate.
Thank you, man. You too, yeah. Keep right on, man.
Up the Blues, mate.